I don't blame the guys today, actually.
Yeah,
I think the system's been rigged for them. It's been rigged with all types of pressures to not do that. And so, I think the best way to do it, the antidote though, is.
Welcome to the Up Your Average podcast, where Keith and Doug give no-nonsense advice to level up your life. So buckle up and listen closely to Up Your Average.
all right, Doug, here we are, Friday morning. How's your morning?
Hey, Friday morning, it's good. I love summertime. Friday morning, Tuesday morning, any time in the summer is good. But we've got a special guest here today.
Well, we've got Andrew Porterfield with us. Andrew, thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for inviting me, Keith.
Yeah, my friend Bob Warren did a men's mentoring summer event. I don't even know what you would call it.
I don't know if they ever had anything they called it.
Yeah, so the idea was that men really benefit from being around men. And so these young men, 18 to 22-ish or so, probably, was it 2000? Or do you remember what year it was?
It was 2000 or 2001.
Okay. Yeah. So Bob was a former pro basketball player. I think you'd say he was a man's man. Like he just was a kind of guy you want to hang out with, I think.
He had a wood saw.
Yeah. Woodmiser, I think, is an Indianapolis-based company, and they would take logs and turn them into planks of wood.
I
Yeah.
think he had a backhoe.
Oh yeah, he had backhoes. He had a Volkswagen Beetle too.
Man's man.
Man's man. And so they did this summer-long thing where they hosted these young men. Now these young men are Doug's age, really, pretty much. They're old. They're old dudes. They had the influence of another man in their life. And so you are tasked with that responsibility with some young men this summer to help these young men formulate a worldview for their lives.
Yeah. It's an honor to get to be part of that and just, I don't know, get to step into what Bob and so many other men have. I don't know. It feels like just kind of getting to be somebody standing on the shoulders of giants and all the Lord's built there over the years.
That's really cool. And that's been like helping men become more manly or evolve in their manliness has been a passion of mine most of my adult life. Yeah. When every week we started sending out an invitation to this and it was driven by Libby's kind of direction on what that looks like. And in doing that, we'd have a title for it. And so Amanda was reaching out to me yesterday, what should we title it? And I said, why don't we title this The Good Old Days? And it seems culturally that there's been kind of devaluing the fact that men are different, right? Like that they're men. And that the idea that men are different. I had some books that we used to give this one away. Doug, you remember this one? The Dangerous Book for Boys. And I just thought it was a good thing to give young parents for their boys with the idea that boys are different, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, no, that book's great. It's got all kinds of how-tos and adventure sparks that could lead to all types of stuff being built using power tools and fishing rods and rifles and all kinds of cool stuff. And the other book that you have there on your desk, I don't know if you want to go right into it.
Oh, go for it.
But that's one of my favorite books. That's written by John Eldredge, who I think is a really neat guy. He's like, I don't know what his real job is. Is he some type of counselor or psychologist?
I don't know.
I think that's what he is. And, but I've read that book maybe not a half dozen times, but pretty close with groups of guys. And it is a great book of adventure. And when I first read it, I missed the point. After reading that book the first time, I bought a motorcycle. I started hunting. I started doing all those things that like, a guy should do. And I didn't just like step into it. I went all in. I mean, like carbon fiber exhaust on the motorcycle, meeting my friend out west, all kinds of stuff. But I really missed the point of that book. And the point of that book isn't so much the things, but it's about the adventurous side of who God is, and He created us. And so therefore you've got this adventuresome side to win inside of you. And my favorite part overall about the book is when it talks about the beauty, win the beauty. And so every guy on the planet wants to win the beauty, and it's going after the heart of a young lady. And so I think that was just one of my favorite takeaways, and it's something that I like to talk about with other guys when I'm walking through life with them. Is how important is it to win the beauty?
I mean, what guy does that not strike the heart of too? I mean, it just hits you.
It's been 25 years ago since I read it, probably, and so I AI'd the essence of the book, and what the AI said, the essence of what Eldridge was trying to hit here was to answer the question to a young man: do I have what it takes? And that's Andrew asked me to hang out with some young men the last day or so, and what I was compelled to cheer them on with was living life more confidently. Like, if you live life more confidently, you answer the question, do I have what it takes? You answer the question, how do I win the beauty? Right? Like, because I think, Doug, you've raised 4 sons, or you're in the process. Yeah, 4 sons. So you have a perspective of this, and I've raised 4 daughters and a son. And I know for a fact that my daughters want the man to win the beauty. Yeah. Like, they don't want him to just kind of accept the beauty. They want the beauty to be won by the man. And I feel like, which I told these guys not to say that phrase, but I think in today's culture, the young men are even intimidated to go win the beauty. I don't know if you've experienced that or not, or like to go say hello to a young lady.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Just probably about my age and younger, how few guys are willing to really put themselves at risk. I don't know too. Just my wife and I don't know how many of our, especially her friends that are still single and like in their late 20s, to talk about this desire for some guy, some reliable guy to come after them, and so many of them are standing back waiting on the woman to make the first move. And they're not about it.
Yeah, and I don't blame the guys today, actually. Yeah, I think the system's been rigged for them. It's been rigged with all types of pressures to not do that. And so, I think the best way to do it, the antidote though, is give my friend, I think it was our friend Don, who we've done some work with. He said, be interested, not interesting. And so if you can be interested in what people are doing, you're going to be naturally curious, and that's going to get you out of your basement, and you're going to have relationships.
And as you're being interested, there's something that's got to be a catalyst to get you out of the basement to go have somebody to be interested with, right? And it's a certain level of courage that I take for granted in my own life. Like the courage to say hi to somebody is more natural to others. And I don't know what your perspective is with the men that you've hung out with over the years. Do they have that courage even to take that initial, how are you kind of thing, or does that even intimidate them?
I think that intimidates them. I mean, that's part of my story too, is just for years, I think I bought into this lie. I think this is the common thing. It's like I've got nothing to offer the people around me, which is a lack of confidence. It was a lack of realization of who I really was and who God had made me. And in turn, it came across to people around me that I was disinterested in their lives, which to a large degree I was, because it made me focus in on myself.
Boy, that's a I bet that's a really common thing out there. I know I lived that way many years ago, that I was more self-conscious of what other people thought rather than maybe what God thought about who I am.
I think one of the ways to get courage is to just borrow it from your friends. And so if you can have someone in your life, or a friend, or a relationship with somebody in your life, older, younger, same age, whatever, and they've got the confidence, just by hanging out with them, being associated with them, doing things with them, that confidence is going to transfer over to you, or it has to me. And then I can just operate off theirs and see how it works.
Yeah, I would say if you're one of our viewers and you find yourself with a courageous personality and a confidence thing, why not reach out to some of these young men and share that with them and help them see it? Because what I know is a fact, and we saw this during COVID, just as confidence and courage is contagious, so is fear and anxiety, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so if you, one of the viewers, are out there and you have courage and confidence, why not go share that with somebody? Because I assure you there's plenty of young men out there that need you to share it with them.
Yeah. One of the greatest opportunities I think a man or a woman can have is to volunteer their time to hang out with somebody else and pour into them, just like you're doing. And I think, when I was a younger guy, Big Brothers, Big Sisters was a big deal to me. And I was able to pour into a young guy, and that's been working even in 2025. And so the benefits of pouring into somebody, or walking through life with somebody, or just being consistently available for someone, as you build these relationships, and that's where the sparks of adventure in life really happen. Because you can't script it. You can't plan for it, but you can go for the ride with each other.
Mm-hmm. I think too, like that confidence, it doesn't get built just from reading a book. I'm thinking about this past year. Brent, the administrator at the Hill where I work, we've been taking the guys through a book by Press Gillum that's kind of in a similar vein to Wild at Heart. It's been really profitable, but I think part of it's only because while they're doing that, they're also getting time with older men. I think that sparked a lot of thoughts, a lot of things to dive into, but just,
do you feed them when they come?
We don't. These guys we spend so much time with. That time specifically, we don't feed them. I mean, there's other times we get together and
what do you guys do? Like, do you do work together, or is it just a hangout session, or like, why do guys even come?
I think, these guys, they've committed to live there for that purpose. So I mean, all those guys, they're serious, like, about, I want to follow Jesus, and I want to be a man. I want to walk. Yeah, I want to walk the way I'm made for.
Are these guys monks?
No, they're not.
With you?
They're not.
Describe what that looks like.
No, these guys are out. They're working regular jobs. They're full-time students in college, one or the other. We're not full-time, part-time, because they also have work requirements around the property. They don't, it's a retreat center. So there's all kinds of, like, we get to kind of go to your point earlier, Doug. We do just meet with them when we're going through that book. For most groups of guys, I don't know that would work, but the reason I think it works for that group is because during the week we are out working with them. So we have that trust built. We're out cutting logs, splitting firewood, cutting grass, building stuff. And I think that's more important than that hour we get to sit and go through that book together, to be honest. If I could take one of those two things, it wouldn't even be close.
Right. So that's a pretty rare opportunity for anybody to be able to live in a place like that. And so the fraternity, again, your group of people, these guys will be 50 years old someday, and they'll never forget it. And I guarantee you they'll pour into other people just because they've been poured into themselves.
Yeah. Some of them they already are. That's cool to see. It really is. And just what you're talking about courage being contagious. Getting to be around each other, even getting to be around all these older men. It's encouraging. They probably think they get the most out of it, but
It's if you're going to mentor somebody, and those, I don't know how old you are that are with us today, but if you're going to mentor somebody, it doesn't matter whether you're 70, 80, 20, or 30. It's a round trip. Like, everybody benefits from the relationship. We were talking about confidence, and one of my favorite sections of the Bible about confidence is in Romans 5, in the first few verses of that. And if you read it, it's not necessarily positive when you read it, but what it says is the way you get really. But the Bible, a lot of times, will use the word hope. It's the same word as confidence, right? And the way you get confidence is you get beat up. You go through difficulty, and you say, you know what, that difficulty didn't kill me. And so next time, that difficulty isn't going to faze me. The one that I had now isn't going to faze me this next. It's going to take something more than that one to faze me the next time. And so you have more confidence for smaller things. So the small things, you build confidence in that. You build confidence for the bigger things, and so on. And so yesterday, we started our time together, almost started our time together, with Kelly working with the guys' confidence. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
About how that almost went, or about what we did?
What we actually did. When Kelly, yeah, I have to filter. Doug knows this as well as anybody. Whatever random thoughts I have, they have to go through a filter before we actually let other people see them. Because my initial thought was, none of these young men have ever been punched in the face, right? That were with us.
I don't think so.
Yeah. And my initial thought,
that's not a bad thing.
No. My initial thought, we were going to break them with that, but then I filtered it and we decided not to. So go ahead.
So Kelly spent some time with us, just showing all the guys like how to defend yourself, how to
And for all you guys listening, Kelly is a girl.
Yes, who boxes?
Yeah, yeah.
What were you going to say, Keith?
No, she's a girl. She is absolutely a girl.
I just think, Kelly can be a man.
It's one of those names, right?
I want to clarify.
Yeah.
So just showing the group how to never have to get in a fight when a confrontation happens. That first and foremost, and then what to do if things get to a point where that's not avoidable. How to properly stand your ground, defend against a punch, and how to throw a punch or a kick. So we had a blast. And
the whole point of all of it is you don't want to throw a punch, right? So you're going to use your eye contact and your voice first to assess the situation. And then if it's clear there's going to be conflict, then they now know how to position themselves, but they also know the goal is to get out of the situation. If I have to throw a punch, I want to only throw one and then run, right? Like, to get out of this thing. I'm not there to be Mike Tyson or anything like that, but the subtlety of that is you can walk through culture more confidently if you just have some knowledge.
Yeah.
Can I throw something out there about walking through life with another guy, or just even associating, hanging out with other guys, pouring in other guys? I think one of the things that I did really poorly for a long time is I was a one-upper. And so I'd be in a conversation with somebody, and you might tell me about something you're doing, and Keith, you might tell me about something, and then I would, let me tell you what I did. And it was pointed out to me by a friend of mine, Big A, and he was doing a talk to other guys in his Iron Sharpens Iron group. And he was stressing the importance of not being a one-upper and just allowing somebody to tell you their story. And so another great way to extend confidence into somebody is to really ignite their story and to pour gas on their story instead of saying, this is how I did it, And so that's a huge part, I think, about transferring confidence to someone else.
We were talking about communication yesterday. They got to meet my friend Phil yesterday, and they asked, how do you communicate better? You remember what Phil said?
He said, learn to be a good listener.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you're saying too, because if you don't know how to listen, the temptation is to think about what I'm going to say next. And I think my experience in my own life, when I feel like I got to one up somebody, that's what I feel like. And it's more important just to hear what they have to say, I think.
Well, to be a man, you got to be satisfied with your own achievements. And yeah, I think all of us want to please our dads. Even at 50 years old, I want to please my dad. But just to be satisfied with what's happening in your life and what's going on, and not having to, take the limelight from somebody else.
I got a phone call from one of my daughters that she went on a seemingly productive date. Like if our listeners or viewers haven't been in tune with what goes on in the dating world today, it's kind of squirrely out there, to say the least, and some weird things go on. But she was really excited about this date, and I said, "Are you willing to just risk being emotional about it, just to let it happen? And if it doesn't happen the way you want, if it doesn't unfold, are you willing?" She goes, "I think so, Dad. I'll take." I said, "I think that's wise. I think to take the emotional risk and just let it go to its natural end is good." But what she said about it was she was describing chivalry. And chivalry is opening the door. It's doing these things that culture has said, we don't need you to do that sometimes. Not all women, but that's been said. And it's hilarious because, like, part of how I do meetings with the ladies here in the office, I'll just go for a walk with them and talk to them about the issues that they're going on in Gimbal. And I cannot, like, me personally, because of the training of chivalrous living, I cannot walk down this sidewalk and let them stand near the road. Like, we literally have to stop our conversation and say, "Can we switch places?" And I called our friend Russ Mack yesterday to ask about this confident living thing, because he told us in maybe one of the meetings where we had our clients at, that how you overcome fear, which is confident living, right, is by a lot of training.
Yeah.
And training is what allows you to go through things. And so if a generation hadn't been taught about chivalrous living, I think innately, like, my daughters for sure want the man to treat them in those kind of ways. So that was just this week. I thought it was really cool. I enjoyed it, but I can't untrain myself from those things, right? So part of my encouragement, you don't know everything about a particular age group or something unless you spend more time with them and you kind of get a gist for it. But it's pretty. I double checked it this morning, but the young men your age and younger, they have much less testosterone than when I was your age. Like, the data shows that it's 20 to 25% less testosterone. And so what that does is it makes it harder to do things that I take for granted, right? And part of that's been environmental. It's been a lot of things that go on with that. And I don't know how you even help them. And they may not even know what's going on, right?
You go do some deadlifts.
Yeah. I mean, it's clear you have to lift weights, right? Like, I mean, or do something like what you guys are doing, because for me in my 60s, I have to do that stuff because the testosterone's dropping down. But my friend Ezra is a Marine Corps recruiter, and only 10% of the men 18 to 24, I think, qualified to be in the Marines today. Isn't that interesting?
I mean, I don't know, like, what that means from data in the past, but
the military in general, like, I was just checking his data. The military doesn't tell you that data. Like, you just have to know somebody. But the military has published only 29% of the citizens between 17 and 24 would qualify to be in the U.S. military, which tells you that's a very low number compared to history, which tells you if we ever needed a military, we're in a bad place as a country. And I was looking what he told me. He told me the reason that most don't qualify, the top reasons they don't qualify for the Marines, one is because of anxiety and depression. Two is ADHD medicine. And three is drug use. But the other thing was a lot of them can't do the basic physical things. And the basic physical things for the Marines is to do either 3 pull-ups or 34 push-ups in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
They can't do that. Then you plank for 40 seconds, which is your core. And then the third thing that they publish is that you run 1.5 miles in 13.5 minutes.
Okay.
And so
let's go.
Yeah.
That's pretty low bar.
In your point of view, right? But you're a man. Like, you're a manly man. I don't want to deal with you, Andrew, but like to think that's like we're talking about our defense of our country, that it's evolved to that, which I don't know what the numbers would have been, but like to tell that to young men could demoralize them, right? Like you just need to go hit the pull-up bar or go do some push-ups or something. But even that, I think you can encourage them, right? Like you can just get them involved in activities that if they're not doing it already.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Congrats to my nephew. He's one of those guys.
He can do that stuff.
He is 18 and he's going into the Army. He was the video game kid.
Yeah.
A couple years ago. Played video games constantly. When he'd come over, he'd have the earbuds in. He's a different dude today. And he can do all of those things. But even better than doing all of those things is he worked at Handel's ice cream shop, worked his way up into a manager. Mm-hmm. And so he has purpose in his life, direction in his life. And if you're hanging out with guys, that's the number one thing that all of us need is, hey, what is the purpose of life? What's this thing all about? What is my unique worldview that I can bring to this equation? And my nephew's got that now.
I love that.
I think that's the antidote for the anxiety, the depression. Yeah. Can't remember the other ones.
I was watching The Last Man Standing. I don't know if you've seen that sitcom. It's really funny. But this week when I was kind of catching up on the old ones, Tim Allen was talking about Aristotle's teaching of telos, Telos, and it means purpose.
Yeah, that's right.
And the idea of helping men find out that they have a purpose, they have meaning on the planet Earth is a big deal. And we had talked about this book before, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And if you don't find a antidote to worrying, I think it's a vicious cycle. You just keep worrying. And a lot of times it may just be another man coming alongside a young man and helping him get off the video game, taking him out, taking him on Caleb used to work at the car racing place. Like the difference between playing a video game and go jumping in a go-kart is a lot different experience, right?
It's getting comfortable with suffering, getting comfortable with pain, because there's too many quick fixes to all that stuff that a guy can get on his phone and get the dopamine hit through gambling, through pornography, through video game playing, whatever it is. And so I think it's an idea of, hey, look, you are going to have to go through some suffering here, but guess what? I'm going to be there with you. You can give me a buzz. We can get together. We can rally. And then that person gets some victories. And next thing you know, they're doing 3 pull-ups.
Yeah. Well, that's why I told the young men this morning that I couldn't run a mile when I was in my 40s. Right. Yeah. And then your encouragement helped me to break that. Right. Yeah. So I was able on each birthday of my 50s, I was able to run 10 miles those days. And I would never have thought it in my 40s, but it started somewhere, some encouragement from you and others. So one of the things Eldridge said, I haven't read this in a while, so I can't endorse everything because I'm not sure if I believe everything in it now. But when I read it, I was motivated on this. But one of the things that Eldridge says, and I don't know the truth of it, but I think it's true, is that the more drugs that you get young boys on, the less active they are. And what this book teaches is you can have a change of mindset that might offset what today people are putting people on drugs. And I don't know the answer to all that. I think he was talking about Ritalin in this book, if I remember right. And so that you're numbing down boys from being boys. And I found as a dad, which you've got more boys than me, but that I have to help Caleb live more adventurously because it's very easy to live passively in our culture, but to cheer them on to take risk. Was that how your dad helped you, Andrew?
He did. Oh, no, maybe not that. but yeah, he did. He really encouraged me to take risks. I remember early on. We'll go over this. I remember how I learned how to swim. Was he would take me. When we'd go out to the lake, he would take me when I was ready. He'd take me in over my head. And he just tossed me in. and I knew he was there to take care, kind of, even at that young age. What you're talking about, Doug, just knowing that you have an older guy that's going to be there for you, but is also challenging you. So I think about that as my earliest memory of that. But for sure, over the years, he's definitely challenged.
How old would have you been?
4 or 5.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were weighing 130.
He could have done it when I was that. He could have done it. Yeah, he could have done it. I remember in high school, my brother and I finally thought we could take him and arrest him. And one day we finally got him locked up. And I think one of us kind of insulted him while we did that, and he went into Marine mode. Next thing we know, he had one of us in headlock with his legs and one of us. But let's say isn't what you're talking about, like seeing a young man who needs that, and offering him a challenge and walk along, but also saying you're going to walk alongside them. That's huge. I've just seen. I think even like this, these like college age guys right now, it's easy to look and say, okay, they just don't have what it takes. And that's not true. I think there's a lot of these guys that really are, if you'll go to them and give them a challenge, also, and not just a challenge and say, okay, you go over and do that, but I'm going to be with you in this, like they'll step up to it. A lot, not some won't, but I think there's a lot more than we realize that will step up to it.
What do you think about that word on this book, dangerous? Like, what does that word mean? Does that stir your soul, or does it cause you to cower?
Kind of the first word that came to mind was fun.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there can be a lot of heartbreak and pain that comes with danger too. But I don't want to get away from it if it's danger that I need to enter into.
I was talking yesterday with the young men, Doug, and talking about the idea that that you can predetermine your mindset about situations, right? And that helps you have more confidence if you already have a determined situation. So I personally have spent a good amount of time in dangerous parts of cities, right? So I'm aware of what that looks like. And if you're aware of it, it gives you a mindset of what I need to do if I'm in a dangerous place, right? And when I was explaining that to these young men, I thought of you and I going into Chicago. Was that about 15 years ago? And it's one of the most dangerous places I've ever been. And I think the only thing I said is I want to be out of here before the sun sets. Like I do not, I'm okay in the broad daylight, but by the time the sun sets, Doug, I want to be out of here.
I think for the most part, it's only dangerous if you're with the wrong people.
Yeah. Well, you can be dangerous in the wrong place at the wrong time too.
That
happens. Right. Yeah. So to be afraid of danger is just a lot of times just not have enough training about the situation. Because there's a lot of ways to be in dangerous places, but with proper training, it's not really that dangerous. Yeah. So most of danger, I think, can be overcome with some training. Yeah, that's just an extreme example, but I found myself last month with my daughter in a dangerous part of Chicago, and there was literally a lot of in-your-face danger within probably from here to the wall, from Kristen and myself, and I just had to walk confidently with her and make decisions to get us out of that situation. And mostly it was what Kelly said. You just make eye contact a lot of times when people will diffuse most situations. But I think danger really elevates the testosterone in young men. Like, I think if they're not in dangerous situations, their body's probably not doing what it was designed for.
I think a young man needs to know they can go into dangerous places they need to go into. If you don't, it can really become a train wreck. I mean, I've lived part of my adult life like that, and it's not fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I am really grateful for you pouring into these young men this summer. And I'm grateful that you allowed me to get some time with them. And with Doug having young sons and having a lot of wisdom of that, it's been a fun conversation. Any parting words you guys want to offer to the young men that might listen or watch this?
The only thing that comes to my mind that I've been thinking about just more and more in the past couple of years is young men need older men in their lives. Like there's just no substitute for that. So if you've got that opportunity, go for it.
What I would suggest right now, this is a timely opportunity for you, is to if you have Amazon Prime, start watching Earnhardt. I don't know how many episodes it is. I don't know. I just started. I've got one down. Watch Earnhardt and enjoy the adventure and think through this guy's life. And you're going to see danger, adventure, chasing dreams, purpose, passion, and you're going to see a lot of heartache. And that heartache, it's really difficult. But if you watch Earnhardt, my next recommendation would be bring up what you watch to an older guy like me. I would say somebody probably 45 and up, because chances are they really liked Dale Earnhardt. And you could say, hey, I just watched Earnhardt. What do you think about that? And just start a relationship with somebody by jumping into something that someone else might know something about.
Well, it's an honor to hang out with you all. It's an honor to hang out with you guys, and just keep living by faith and just living large. Life is for the living. I will see you guys soon.